Hey friends, my name is Bethany Frazier and I'm the Assistant Director at Camp for All, and I wanted to share how I am spending some of my time away from camp. So I really miss camp, and one thing that I do that helps remind me of the good times we have at camp is to spend time outside on nature walks. So I know that not everyone has trails or fields or access to a park near your house, but I wanted to take you on a few of my walks close to where I live and show you how you can find neat things in nature, and also show you a little bit about what I'm learning. So I am new to Texas. I used to live in North Carolina, and I've also lived in Florida. So there's a lot of trees and bugs and birds that I'm not used to seeing. And it's been a really good opportunity to take some pictures of things while I'm out walking, and then come home and look them up and find out what it is that I'm seeing. So come with me on my walk. I'm excited to show you around. This is a nice outside space that's not far from where I live, and I pass it every day on my walk. But normally it's full of people fishing and hanging out. It's really hot today, so I think that's why I have it all to myself. So let's check out some of the things that are here. You might recognize this tree from the edge of the lake near our canoes or our kayaks. This tree is a bald cypress, and I'm not sure where the name came from because it's definitely not bald up top, but it could be referring to the knobby knees that are sticking up out of the water. These are called knees, and they help the roots of the tree gather more oxygen because it's really hard for the roots underground to take in a lot of fresh air because they are underwater, and it's hard to breathe underwater, much harder for the tree than just through soil like a normal root system would be able to process oxygen. These trees like to live in the swamp, but they can also live in dry areas. If it's not living in the water, it doesn't grow knees though. So that's a cool little fact and a way for it to adapt to its environment. These can get really tall. They grow about a foot or two per year and can get as tall as 70 feet. So if you do see the bald cypress around close to where you live or where you might be visiting, just know that you've got a little piece of camp near where you are because it is the same tree. And now we can look at some of the bald cypress trees that are at camp. So you'll see the close-up of what their needles look like. You can see the ones that don't have knees, the ones that do have knees, and get a nice view of our lake in the background. And here we can see what their fruit looks like. So these are evergreen trees, so they have cones, and these aren't quite ready to fall off on the ground just yet. They're still kind of young and green. This next plant is something I unfortunately have a good amount of experience with, so I want to reiterate that we want to look and not touch. All right, so you definitely want to learn how to identify what poison ivy is, especially if you're going to be spending a lot of time outside or off trail. There's a lot of things that can look like poison ivy, including sometimes wild strawberries, Virginia creeper, and other things. But poison ivy is usually in groups with 3 leaves in a little cluster. The middle of the 3 leaves is usually sort of tinted red. And when you look at the leaves, you can use your hands to identify their arrangement. So if you think about your hands like mittens, where the fingers are together and the thumb sticks out a little bit, the 2 leaves on either side will have mittens with the thumb pointing out. And then the big leaf in the middle will look like if your mittens are overlapping and there's a thumb on either side. So we'll look at the pictures and think about this when you're out in nature and you're trying to check to see if you should avoid something you think might be poison ivy. So good luck. If you do see any poison ivy out on your hikes and you've correctly identified it, or if you have a question, you can post a picture in the comments and we can look at it and help you decide if you are correct. So once again, as we're looking at this, you can see the middle leaf that's pointing straight up. Looks like it has the 2 little mitten thumbs, one on either side. And then on this particular plant, the mitten thumbs that are on the downside are not a whole lot bigger than the ridges that are on the top side of those side leaves, but they are slightly more defined. And then in the very center, you can see that it's kind of reddish brown where all 3 of those leaves come together. Here is another area where the poison ivy is mixed in with other plants. So this is the wild strawberry, and even though some of the wild strawberry vines have leaves in groups of 3, you can see that their leaf clusters are mostly the same size and they have more of a sawtooth edge. And you can also see where there are some clusters that have more than 3 leaves. The last thing I want to share about poison ivy is that a lot of the time you will see it growing on the ground. Sometimes it does get mixed in with other plants like you could see in the picture before. But as you can see here, it's actually growing up on a tree. So if you are looking for a tree to lean on, or if you're looking around and just trying to make sure that you don't run into it, make sure that you are looking on the ground and that you are also looking up. Well, that's all for today. I have enjoyed sharing a little bit about what nature I see when I'm out on my walks, and I'm excited to see you guys when we're all able to be back at camp together. So go outside, enjoy being outside, and let us know if you see anything neat. So see you next time.